Hello, I'm Nadia Shelby, and this week you join us outside Paris's brand new Perfume Museum as we put this week's focus on the French art of fragrance design. Let's go inside. Distilled in an elegant Parisian mansion, this immersive exhibition unfolds over 1,400 square meters to offer a historical, sensory and scientific delve into the world of perfume with a special emphasis on French heritage. Well, to give us a private tour, I'm joined by the museum's director, Sandra Armstrong. Hello, thank you for being with us. Now, the first perfume that humanity has kept a record of isn't French, in fact. It's Egyptian. Tell us a bit about it.
Egypt was the birthplace of antique perfumery, probably due to the fertility of the Nile Valley that was particularly ideal for growing plants, with ingredients such as the myrrh and frankincense. What does it smell?
It smells slightly sweet.
It is. It is a bit spicy and it is sweet.
And what was it used for?
Egyptians used to burn fragrances to worship their god. They had daily rituals and they used it in personal hygiene.
Tell us about how France became the perfume hub that it is today.
Royal and imperial French courts stimulated the expansion of the perfume industry. Louis XIV favored many scents, such as the orange blossom, and then Napoleon sipped the eau de Cologne.
He drank it?
He did, really.
And here we're seeing the 19th and 20th century perfumes. Tell us a bit about that era.
Perfume is a symbol of the French art de vivre. In 1884, Paul Parquet, a famous fragrance composer, uses for the first time a synthetic ingredient called the coumarine, and this gave birth to a new era in fragrances.
So we're now in the sensory heart of the museum. Tell us a little bit about this installation, this modern garden.
Well, indeed, the challenge of this museum was to explore something that is immaterial, invisible, fragrance. So the visitor journey features the latest innovation in terms of interactive media and olfaction. This is a great example. If you approach, you can breathe in the scent of the firewood.
And of course, the real garden of French perfume is in the southern city of Grasse. How did Grasse become the center of perfume for France?
Grasse is renowned as the city of flowers. Catherine de Médicis, when she married Henri II, exported from Italy many of the flower plants. And that's the time that the city of Grasse became the city of flowers, in particular with the reputation of jasmine flower.
Well, learning to create a successful fragrance is a long and complex process. And with its expertise, France has also become the gold standard for training would-be perfumers.
Lucia is not here to pick roses. She's one of 12 apprentices learning the ins and outs of being a nose.
I've never smelled a rose like this.
She and her fellow apprentices have traveled from around the world to study in Grasse, France, the capital of fragrance. They share a dream to one day be a renowned perfumer. After the harvest, the flowers are brought to an extraction factory.
We have to put these flowers into extractors in order to bring out their perfume.
This mountain of petals, about 300 kilos, will produce a mere 500 grams of perfume extract after distillation. Lucia, who comes from Spain, is at home among the vats of alcohols and fragrances.
To be a good nose, you have to be part chemist, part artist.
Far away from the flowering gardens, the students will spend 1 year in a classroom learning to dissect scents. It's a precise science, down to the milliliter. A simple bouquet can be made up of 7 scents, while the most elaborate perfumes can contain up to 200. At times, it can be a sensory overload.
Our noses can get a bit irritated, but it's okay. We're passionate, which means we won't stop.
5 to 6 hours every day, the students train themselves to blindly recognize more than 400 different scents, a process that is highly personal.
It's very tied to memory, for example. Certain smells will remind me of my grandma's jam or a flower I smelled in a garden at a particular moment.
Before they develop the skills to compose a prestigious perfume, these students will need 10 years of experience. Only 100 noses in the world are expert enough to create these beautiful vials.
Well, for more on this amazing craft, I'm joined by the man behind such perfume hits as Dior Addict or Lancôme Hypnose, currently the master perfumer at Guerlain, one of the world's oldest and most reputable houses that opened here in Paris in 1828. Thierry Vasseur, hello, thank you for being with us.
You're welcome, and welcome home at La Maison Guerlain.
Thank you very much. Now, let me ask you first a seemingly simple question. What makes a good perfume?
Love.
That's a good answer. What about what makes a good perfumer?
Love. I think you have to be mentally 12 years old, I think. You have to be that child who is free, who is curious, who is bold. Your craft is totally abstract. You have to have that fantasy in you.
Now, there are trends in perfume. Do they reflect a time, a period in history?
I am tempted to say yes. In the 70s and beginning of the 80s, women were fighting for their rights. And they were using bold fragrances to say, I'm here, I do exist. So that was those big fragrances, Poison, Giorgio Beverly Hills, Opium, etc. But you don't think that you are going to create a new trend. You see that retrospectively, so it's very difficult to forecast what will come or become a trend, because obviously when you create a fragrance, you wanted to be a trendsetter, to be a success, to be huge, to be loved by everybody, but there are no rules.
Is there any such thing as a French scent? A French signature?
From the coming of Catherine de Médicis in France, stopping in Grasse, coming in Paris at the royal court, the idea of smelling good and all those Italian fragrances, etc., was the base of all the French perfumery. And worldwide, everybody knows that French perfumes are allegedly the best.
And tell us a little bit about this concept of the Guerlinade.
So this Guerlinade basically is the use or the abuse of 6 raw materials: bergamot, iris, vanilla, tonka bean, jasmine, and rose. And those ingredients were Jacques Guerlain's favorite. So his style became the signature of the house, and that's the Guerlinade, basically. And his grandson, who succeeded him in 1959, used those ingredients, but it is not something that you pour in a composition and it's voila, Guerlinade. No, it's those ingredients used at different levels, the 6 of them, or sometimes just the 5 of them, but which gives altogether that signature.
And as just clearly making it apparent to us, perfume is creative. Is it an art form?
Wow, that's a good one. Personally, I will tell you, as a manufacturer, I'm a craftsman. As an inventor, I'm an artist. So I can't answer.
Thank you very much for that, Thierry Vasseur.
You're very welcome.
Now, until quite recently, fragrance designers worked very much in the shadows, and the nose behind a scent remained anonymous. But as a growing number of French perfumers have left the mainstream to build their own niche labels, their signature has become part of an adventurous and exclusive experience.
Bienvenue, je vous emmène faire un tour dans le passé le présent et le futur.
Masters at bottling French chic, Marie Antoinette is home to some 250 original scents, each fragrance meant to invoke the idea of an exotic destination.
Imagine a Greek Orthodox church and the doors opening before your eyes and a wedding party comes pouring out. There are notes of incense, myrrh, orange peel, maritime, pine and a little clove as well.
Picking up the scent of success, big commercial brands have started buying up flourishing boutique labels, among them the pioneering Frédéric Malle, snapped up by Estée Lauder in 2014. His label's store under the heading Publisher of Perfumes puts the scent's creators front and centre.
Our authors created these masterpieces. The idea is to put forward the artistic spirit of each perfume.
These fragrances are one of a kind, and it's that sense of rarity that has customers hooked.
I'm looking for a perfume that represents who I am, to leave a trace when I pass through a corridor or I'm among friends. That way people will know Deborah was here.
The quest for a daring, signature scent is driving both locals and tourists to the État Libre d'Orange, where fragrance design is being elevated to an art form.
I live in New York, I live in Los Angeles, and the same brands that are here are there for the most part. So I wanted something really unique and really kind of hard to find. And to me, this is like just as important as visiting a museum, you know, because it's something that's being created now. It's contemporary art that you can wear on your skin.
Here, the bottles are standardized. The scent comes first. Among the subversive and evocative titles on offer, Palace Whore, Anti-Hero, and Carcass.
We operate in the spirit of rebellion, a little bit out of place, a bit striking, always pushing the limits. We're a place for rebels and outsiders.
A brand statement that sets it apart from the big names on the high street, and one helping to give French perfume a new lease of life.
Well, that's where we're leaving this edition. Thank you for watching. Stay tuned to France24.